In the 21st century, evil VTubers led by Sakana aim to destroy the world. Humans can do nothing against the power of the evil fish. The only hope is phaseconnect. I think you got some lore stuff mixed up there, buddy. You should probably look to see who owns phaseconnect, first of all. I don't know. It breaks up. It does bring up like an interesting, like, jokes aside, it does bring up, I think, an interesting topic with everything that's going on recently. I've been pretty off social media, generally speaking, unless it's for work or something. But I was talking with staff earlier today, actually, about some of the ongoings just within the company and VTubing in general. And I don't know, there's always something. There's always something. Like I blink, I close my eyes, and there's always something. New gen when, and wasn't talking to anyone about that, but yeah, there's always like some sort of drama. And I hesitate to say this because I don't want anyone to think I'm blaming victims or anything. But I feel like a lot of it has to do with like media literacy, and also like, to an extent, a much lesser extent, I would say, business literacy, because I feel like people tend to inflate what that really means, inflate the value of like having a contract read over by a lawyer. But a lot of things that were common sense, I think, when for me growing up, doesn't seem to be the case nowadays, and that's been kind of interesting to see. Evangeline Man, thank you for a 1 month, 5 minutes before Maid Cafe reservations open. Love bugs. Won't be at a con myself, but hope you all have fun. I don't think they'll sell out. Just to be frank, I don't think it'll sell out, so have fun. Take your time with it. Social media is always popping off about something, waiting like parasites to leech off the slightest signs of drama. Media literacy is dead. Media literacy is a joke nowadays. People will grab onto any little detail for drama. I don't know. Most everything never. I got to the contract part. Almost everyone was just winging it on vibes. Yeah, but like, I guess it's interesting for me because it's like, it's so easy to clock bullshit from the outside looking in, but once you're more involved with it, I guess it changes. Yeah, I don't know. I don't wanna blame victims when you're in these sort of niche spaces, especially spaces with money, especially ones as highly network driven as content creation or VTubing. I think we're all thinking of this in the scope of VTubing, just because this is what my audience is. Social media and business literacy aren't just bullet points on the resume anymore. They're like actual survival skills at this point. And I agree that predatory people are bad. Obviously, predatory contracts are bad. I agree with that sentiment. I think I used to be more preachy about it, especially when VTubing was more niche and rigid, but like, you know, it's a lot more open. The concept is a lot more open now, and it invites more people in. And that's not just bad actors, because let's face it, there's bad actors in every industry, but there's just more people in it now. And what's happening, I think, is like a lot of people who have been here for a while don't really know how to protect themselves against it. And obviously, like, my audience tends to be a little older, so I see you guys saying, like, I agree, yeah, agreed, very true. Didn't gatekeep hard enough. Well, that's the thing, like, it's not really about gatekeeping. If there's money, people are gonna go. Where there's money, people are going to follow. That's just the natural tendency of things. But it's like the people who have been in this space, the people pursuing VTubing as a form of content creation, just seem so ill-adept for a lot of it. And maybe that's just how I feel because I am of a certain generation. I don't know. I might talk about it more at length, honestly. It's been a while since I did a public out of character stream. And I'm actually largely removed from a quote unquote scene nowadays, but I'd like to like actually sit down, look at what's going on and write out my thoughts on it some days. This is sort of the issue with a very new industry, but also a very new supply of talents, and things that should be common sense just aren't inherent to the talents, which means that people can take advantage of it. It's hard because it's a lot of people's dreams to make it, and there's so many people pitching opportunities. But you have to realize, like, dreams are dreams for a reason, right? If we can all make our dreams come true, then like fucking human beings would be flying and waving wands and shooting laser beams from our eyes. They should start a consultation side business for VTubering. It would have to be a totally different entity, I think. It would have to be a totally... I think that just opens up a whole new can of worms, right? Where, you know, like, if we're doing consultation, there's a certain expectation of, like, how we should be behaving, and ultimately this is a very, like, people-oriented industry, so you can't hold yourself to that standard all the time. You can try, you can do your fucking best, but, you know, mistakes happen, like, yes, we grow from it, yes, we learn, yes, we move on, but, like, it's not out of the question all the time. Every new fold adds a new wrinkle, exactly. Never believe any VTuber or YouTuber is selling a course on how to make it. Well, that comes into, like... that brings up a discussion then of, like, who do you trust? Who do you trust? If you are someone new and wanting to learn how to do certain things, how do you grow? How do you develop yourself as a person, right? Right? And it's not just luck. We know that. We know that it's not just luck, because if it was luck, well, we probably wouldn't have much of an agency here. Maybe in 10 years there will be 1 to 2 people working as freelance PR for VTubers. There already is. There already is, right? There's already talent agencies. You can hire a manager all the time. I get a lot of that stuff on my Twitter feed. I don't think I've ever talked about this. I've done like a little bit. I did briefly before phase. I did like a very, very short consultation gig. I think I made like maybe like $600 from it. With an indie, just to help her prepare for debut, but I did it privately, so she had no idea what my experience or anything is, which actually I think is like, you know, like, I think she got lucky because I know how to send a fucking email. So I could help her that way, and she genuinely got something out of the $600. But I think that speaks to like how desperate some people are to find help in chasing their dreams down, because I disclosed none of like, I didn't disclose that I'd been in an agency. I didn't disclose that I had managed other talents. I didn't disclose my name or anything. It was just introduced via third party, and it's just like, hey, you should trust this girl. She can help you with like getting your model and whatnot. And yeah, people just really, they really want to believe in something, but like logic dictates that you should probably hold yourself to a higher standard and research a little bit more. Mastering, thank you for $5. Oh, if we're talking about this, my main issue is the whole all Corpo's bad, indie is the future being the default response to Corpo issues, dumb black and white view. Fair enough. I mean, I obviously am part of an agency. Where do we go with this one? where do we go with this one? I agree that it's a dumb black and white take, right? But I also understand how we got here, which was, you know, like we started with like these bigger, we started very grassroots with these small agencies, and then people weren't getting the sort of results that they wanted with them because they wanted Hololive, they wanted Nuji Sanji to just say it blatantly as it is. And so, you know, we got kind of disillusioned with that, and then we got the bigger agencies, and you know, things happen and we became disillusioned, and then the sentiment for a while was just like, okay, Japanese agencies bad. North American agencies are the only way to go. They're the only ones that understand our values, right? And then that was shot dead. With other things, and you know, like, who do you trust at that point, right? Yeah. Very full circle. There's something to be said about having a large pool of money to be able to do big projects. I'm very pro agency, but I think people should really reevaluate. If you're getting into this with the intention of making money, you need to reevaluate your goals ultimately. Because if it's just like, okay, I just want to stream and make money off of it, then yeah. If I just want to make content and make money, there's something to be said about like indie being the route, because at that point you're keeping 100% of your earnings, right? So if you're willing to just grind it out, do whatever strong algorithmically, build your audience and grind that way, and you have the time and energy to do that stuff, and yeah, that's great. That's really, really great. Being your own boss has a lot of advantages, theoretically. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things have to go right, but there's ways to better your odds, right? You could pump out, like React is pretty reliable nowadays. You could be doing with 3 shorts a day, whatever. So there's something to be said. There is a path to success as an indie, which seems more straightforward now than it ever has previously, right? And I'm sure that even if you join a corpo, there's something to be said. You could probably find success doing the same structure in an agency. But for agency, I'd say if you have a goal that extends further than just streaming or content creation, I think an agency can help with a lot of that. You know, which is like why you see a lot of the V singers, a lot of the kind of like idol types wanting to join groups, join agencies. And if you're not very good, you know, there's people who aren't suited to being their own managers, who aren't suited to entrepreneurship, or just plain don't want to do that stuff, and that's why there's agencies. Yeah. By the way, if you're uncomfortable discussing this, sorry for bringing it up, Dizzy. No, you're good. I would just ignore you if I didn't want to talk about it. But yeah, I don't know. I might do a stream for old time's sakes, because it's been a while. It's been 3 years basically.